It is my pleasure to welcome you aboard Delta today. In just a few moments, we will make aviation history when our flight, Delta 1028, touches down on runway 1028 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport as the first arrival on the most important runway in America. For all of us at Delta, the journey to the opening of Atlanta's fifth runway began long before the first dirt moved in 2001. It really began in 1941 when our young and growing company made the historic decision to relocate from Louisiana to Atlanta and begin one of the great partnerships in aviation history, Delta Airlines and the City of Atlanta. To celebrate the opening of the fifth runway, it is Delta's pleasure to join with the City of Atlanta in taking a look back at the rise of the world's busiest airport from remarkably humble roots. To kick off the journey, here's Mayor Shirley Franklin.
Thank you, Jerry. And on behalf of the City of Atlanta and the world's largest airport, I am pleased to add my welcome aboard to this historic flight. For more than 5 years, our city watched with imagination and optimism as tons of dirt and materials were moved across interstates and from around the world to create the most important runway in America right here in Atlanta. In addition to the economic impact already realized by the construction of the largest public works project in Georgia history, the fifth runway paves the way for another era of growth and prosperity for our region. From reduced delays for travelers, to substantial savings for airlines, to expanded capacity for future growth, this runway is so important that it will enable our hometown airport to serve more than 120 million passengers annually by the end of the decade, up from 55 to 60 million the airport was originally built to serve. To celebrate our rise to this momentous occasion, let's start where it all began, 1925, on an old racetrack that soon became known as Candler Field.
It was the roaring 20s and the age of the barnstormer, and the stunt pilot had come to the Southland. While Atlanta had historically been a small, struggling provincial town, it was suddenly becoming a player on the national stage. Coca-Cola, Atlantic Steel, and Georgia Power were hitting their strides. WSB Radio had just gone on the air. And on September 15, 1926, the first flight into Candler Field, now Hartsfield-Jackson, had arrived from Jacksonville. The runway was dirt. The plane carried mail. And there certainly was no control tower. But within 4 years, Delta had entered Atlanta with non-stop service to Birmingham, or 6-stop service to Dallas, Texas, on the legendary Trans-Southern route. From there, the rest is history. In March 1941, Delta moved its headquarters from Monroe, Louisiana to Atlanta to capitalize on Atlanta's central location in its expanding route system. In the 1950s, Delta pioneered the nation's first hub and spoke system in Atlanta. And even as early as 1957, Atlanta had already staked its claim as the busiest airport in the country, with more than 2 million passengers that year. With the rise of the jet age in the 1960s, Atlanta opened the largest airport terminal in the country to accommodate the 6 million travelers that were expected each year. And even with a price tag of $21 million, the new terminal was stretched beyond capacity in its first year, with 9.5 million passengers passing through Atlanta. With such quick success, by 1967, the city had already begun planning for construction of what would become the world's largest passenger terminal at its opening in 1980. Completed on time and under budget, just like the fifth runway today, the new terminal made it possible for Atlanta to accommodate up to 55 million passengers per year in a 2.5 million square foot facility. But even with a new terminal, the Hartsfield runway race was just getting started. A fourth runway was opened in 1984, and by the late 80s, Hartsfield's master plan called for the construction of the fifth runway we will land on today. at nearly double the cost of the midfield terminal constructed here in the 1970s. The fifth runway is nothing short of an engineering marvel. Some 21 million cubic yards of earth, enough to fill the Georgia Dome 6 times, had to be moved to make room for the runway. And to accommodate the 9,000 feet of concrete, the runway features the longest runway bridge in the world, spanning 10 lanes of traffic on Interstate 285. In addition to crossing Atlanta's busy perimeter highway, the landing of this aircraft will also be guided by air traffic controllers sitting atop the tallest control tower in North America. The dreams of both Delta and Hartsfield-Jackson were born together on what was a small racetrack south of town. A racetrack that through 60 years of partnership has become the launching point for 1,000 Delta flights a day to nearly 230 destinations in 40 countries.
On behalf of Delta's 25,000 Metro Atlanta employees, I extend my congratulations and thanks to the City of Atlanta, to the people of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, to the Federal Aviation Administration, and to our many partners in Georgia for a job well done. And to Delta customers worldwide, I hope you will enjoy the significant benefits this runway will offer. From improved on-time flights to increased capacity that will serve as a launching point for our continued international growth, this runway helps ensure that Delta will continue connecting our city to the world as we have for more than 75 years.
Congratulations, Atlanta, on a job well done.